You're going to see a lot of different videos on quick ways to paint your brake calipers. This is really going to be dependent on your brake setup. This is a full cover plate, so it doesn't have exposed brake pads or clips or any other hardware. So yeah, you can get away with it in some of these applications. In this one, there is an exposed brake pad, so every time you change the brake pads, you're going to end up with a different look, unless you paint the back of the brake pads every time. First thing you got to do, obviously, is get the wheel off. On a 2019 Durango RT, you'll need either a 7/8 inch or a 22mm hex socket. This vehicle has the E20 or torque socket rather than the hex. You can probably get away with a 5/8, but I also found out that it caused some deformity. I ended up having to buy the entire kit, which is a good idea, because if you do deform them or decide to use the proper bit, which is what you should be using, you may need to use a different size e-torque to get them back on, or you can stick with it, but you're going to end up grinding the heads off of the star. These mounting brackets also require 125 foot-pounds of torque, so it's going to be very helpful to use the proper socket, but if you are in a pinch, you can get away with the 5/8 inch. Next, you have the caliper slide pin bolts. I used the 11mm. I believe you can also use a 7/16. These are going to be 42 foot-pounds on the front brakes and 21 foot-pounds on the rear brakes. Also on the rear brakes, the slide pin bolts are going to be 7mm. Once I got the caliper bracket off and the caliper, I'm just using a drill with a wire bristle head on it to grind down some of the bigger rust spots. I just found something that I could lay it on without having it hang, also without having to disconnect the calipers and bleed the brakes. Basically just going around the whole caliper trying to remove as much rust as possible. This was probably the most tedious part of the process. However, the more time you spend cleaning this up, the better your final results are going to be and the nicer the paint job is going to look. I'm cleaning this with a hand sanitizer. You could probably use anything that's alcohol based, carbon brake cleaner. You just want to avoid things that are water based so that it dries quickly and doesn't cause more rust or corrosion. You'll want to tape up all of the rubber boots and grommets. You don't want to get primer or paint on them. It could possibly dry them out, cause them to crack. Plus it'll look a lot better as a finished product. I'm just using some standard blue painter's tape. Color doesn't matter obviously, but it's going to be easy to get off, or easier to get off than other types of tape. It's not a permanent, so this will work just fine. You definitely don't want to get any paint in where the slide pins go. That'll cause them to stick, and you want it to be the cleanest, smoothest surface possible when those brake pads are sliding in and out. So definitely cover up the ends of the slide pin holes. By the time you have it taped up, everything should be dry and ready for primer. I'm just using a standard gray Rust-Oleum primer. You can give this about 10 to 15 minutes to dry and either put on another coat or flip it over and do the other side. Once both sides are dry, you're ready for paint. I chose a cherry red, also Rust-Oleum product. I like to start with a clean slate, so I just have a tabloid piece of cardstock underneath. Just give it kind of a fresh surface to work on. First coat, you're just going for coverage here. You don't want to go on too thick to prevent runs or drips. Alright, we got 2 coats of primer already on. Backside already painted. This is the side that people are actually going to see. A piece of paper also allows you to turn the caliper to paint it without touching it. Leave that on as a first coat, then we'll put another coat on. Put a little clear coat on there. Only on the one side, because that's the only side they're going to see anyway. Gonna add a little gloss. Maybe it'll protect it a little bit. Speed up the process a little bit. Well, if you taped it up correctly, it should look something like this. Yes, there's red planes on the grommets up top. Won't be that big of a deal. Right at the back. And this part right here is what's going to mount to the bracket on your vehicle. So again, you'll never see it. This is all you're going to see is these 2 arms in the front. And then your caliper is going to fit in here. So this is that part. Caliper fits in here. This will all be caliper and brake pad. Just get our red on there. That's good enough for a third coat. 2 coats of primer, first coat of red. Let it dry. Two coats of primer, 2 coats of red, and a clear coat. This should look pretty damn good. I'm really liking the contrast between the red and the black brake pad, and now with the chrome clip on it. None of this would have looked this way if I had just wrapped a plastic bag around it and sprayed the entire thing red. All 3 of those pieces, brake pad, caliper, and clip, would all be red. See it properly. It's good, just that easy. This is how I did it. I think it turned out really nice. Hopefully this will be helpful in your projects. If you have any tips or questions, leave in the comments and I will respond. Thank you very much for watching, and hopefully your projects will be successful.